Welcome to Fashion Review. I'm your host, Deborah Cristobal, coming to you from sunny Santa Barbara, California. And today we will be discussing the 2019 Met Gala. Let me introduce our panelists. First, we have Irina Aquaskya. Hello, darlings. Next is Marguerite Daisy Crimson. Hi, y'all. And last but not least is Lady Penelope Mauve. Hello. We're talking about the 2019 Met Gala, and they always have a theme, and this year's theme was Camp, Notes on Fashion. So we're going for the best dress of the evening, and Irina, you chose Lady Gaga. And Lady Gaga pretty much put on her own little show. She had 4 different outfits, and literally it was like performance art. So take it away, Irina. Darlings, this was so incredible. First of all, Lady Gaga arrives. She had huge fuchsia coat dress with ruched mock turtle collar, these big, large puffy sleeves, enormously huge train, and she had these men dressed in black, and they had black umbrellas all around her, and then she took that off, and then she ended up with a black asymmetrical sweetheart strapless ball gown, and it had huge side bustle. I've never seen bustle just on one side, but it was very interesting. And then she takes that off, and underneath that she has hot pink strapless column dress. This kind of reminds me of Marilyn Monroe when she did that song Diamonds Are Girl's Best Friend. And then if that wasn't enough, actually that hot pink dress was my favorite. I know you're surprised because I always love black, but I really like the cut of that dress, and plus it was shiny, kind of it had a shimmer to it, and it was so hot pink. It was very striking. And then her last outfit reveal was black bra and brief. Then she had fishnet that were flocked. They had little specks of stuff on them with huge, gigantic platform granny boots. And her makeup, she had super blonde, what you call it, chopped off, blunt cut, and then bangs. But then she had these huge gold eyelashes. They were gold and white and a little bit black, and they were really long, probably about 2 inches or something. I don't even know how she could blink with those eyelashes, but it was a spectacle. And she was posing on the stairs at the museum, and it was just a whole show. And this was designed by Brandon Maxwell, who is very good friend of hers, and he is also judge on Project Runway. He's the one with the big black glasses, and he and Lady Gaga have been friends forever, super good friends, and he's done a lot of her costumes in the past. So this was total showstopper, and it was her own show by herself. Okay, great, Irina. And next we have Penelope chose Celine Dion, who was wearing an Oscar de la Renta outfit. And Penelope, yes, darlings. Well, Celine Dion, this was one of her best outfits yet. It was very kind of Vegas showgirl, which kind of makes sense because after all, she's one of the famous people who've had a residency in Vegas for such a long time. But her outfit was absolutely gorgeous. It was very sleek. It was sort of a champagne-colored bodysuit with a deep plunging neckline, long, just very straight sleeves. And then the highlight of it all was she had this gigantic, huge, beautiful feathered headpiece. And it was kind of like a Ziegfeld Folly girl. And I don't know what kind of feathers, but they were kind of wispy and it was real dainty, so it didn't look too overpowering on her. But the pièce de résistance was this beaded fringe that was absolutely spectacular. So when she held her arms out, you could see this fringe, and it went almost to the floor. It was maybe ankle length, and then it was also dripping from the bodysuit, so it almost came down, like I said, to her ankles. And it weighed over 22 pounds. I would think this would have knocked poor Celine over, because she doesn't look like she even weighs, more than 100 pounds herself. But anyway, she had Fred Leighton jewelry, and then she had these gorgeous silver T-strapped shoes. So she looked really like something out of the 1920s, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, great. And then Daisy, you chose Kylie Jenner as your favorite best dressed of the evening.
Yes, Kylie, wow, she was so stunning. She was wearing a Versace strapless gown, and it was made out of this interlaced crystal mesh with Swarovski crystals, and then it had ostrich feathers at the hem of it. But the thing of it was, because it was just a mesh strapless dress, she had on a nude bodysuit underneath it, and you could see that. And then the gown came down all the way down to the ground, and then from about her knees down, you could have these lavender ostrich feathers that were just so gorgeous. And then when she held her arms out, she had these detachable, huge, puffy, matching feather sleeves. So they kind of looked like a muff, except they were on her arms, kind of like on her upper arms, these gorgeous, gorgeous sleeves. Now, they also made a pillbox hat, a matching pillbox hat, also out of these lavender feathers. But when she put that on, it just looked a little bit too Auntie Mame or Maud or something like that. So her sister said, no, don't wear that. But she also had on a long, how she likes her wigs and stuff. Well, she had a long lavender wig, and she chose the one that was a little more subtle in color. It was a little just more muted. The other one that she had was like a little brighter lavender, but she wanted the dress to really stand out, and so she chose the kind of more softer color wig. But it was absolutely gorgeous, and she looked like some diamond drop earrings. So it was absolutely amazing. And the other thing, too, is that when they were putting that dress together at Versace, they had to hand-stitch those mesh pieces together by hand at the seams and stuff, because that's just how they had to do it. So it was really, really a work of art, and it was just amazing. So, yeah.
Okay, great, Daisy. And then for the worst of the evening, Penelope, you chose Aquafina. She was wearing a Joseph Altazura gold crystal pleated dress. And what's your opinion about this look, Penelope? Well, darling, I love Aquafina. She's so talented. Sometimes her choices in this instance, I mean, she was wearing gold lame, and the gold was gorgeous on her, but this dress, it had all these tiers, and it went all the way to the ground. Then she had these huge, puffy
flower sort of creations that were also made out of the fabric. Now, the fabric, it wasn't just a smooth gold lame, it was crystal pleated. So on top of the busyness of the flowers, they were also pleated. So they were just these gigantic, huge flowers that were nested right on top of her shoulders. So they were so big and just overwhelming because she is pretty much a petite girl. And then she had this heavy gold belt at the waist and little stretch gold boots. And then they matched it with this black pouch bag that looked almost like a daytime bag. It looked like it would have belonged to like a motorcycle outfit or something, like a pair of jeans or like a mini skirt or something like that. It did not look like an evening bag. I don't know who picked out the accessories, but anyway, I think if this dress could have been, say, T-length or maybe a mini, if they would have had a skinnier belt, maybe even one shoulder with none of the little poofs, then it could have had a chance, because the gold color looked really good on her, but just this dress was just too overwhelming for poor Aquafina. Okay, great, Penelope. And then next we have Irina, who chose Kim Kardashian as her worst dressed of the evening. She was wearing a Thierry Mugler wet look dress. Darling, this look, how can I even say? It was inspired by Sophia Loren photo from 50s, from film called Boy on a Dolphin. And I don't know what Sophia Loren's dress was made of. Probably some kind of cotton or something. It was definitely wet t-shirt look or something like that. Very sexy. So Thierry Mugler came out of retirement so he could make Kim Kardashian this dress, which was made of silicone and silk organza. But the color, it was so awful. It looked like mud. It was very blah. It had very low neckline. Then she has, underneath she had nude, bodysuit corset. And it made her body look very strange because it cinched her in so much that her waist looked like it was maybe 12 inches, and then her big hips, it looked weird, actually. It did not look like it was in proportions. And then on top of this dress, they sewed on these raindrop crystals, so it looked like there was water dripping off of her. Now, I personally did like the raindrop crystals, but the dress, oh no. Plus, this bodysuit was so tight that poor Kim could not even sit down or go to the bathroom all night. I mean, who does that? I mean, we hear that beauty is torture, but I think this is taking it way too far. Okay, Irina. And then Daisy, you chose Nishapat Supap, who is a Thai lady who is a contributing editor at Vogue. And she was wearing Tomo Koizumi, a Japanese designer. Daisy, what was your opinion on this? Well, I actually love this designer. He specializes in these real fluffy, ruffled dresses that are just ruffles and ruffles and ruffles, and they are gorgeous. And this dress, he makes them out of Japanese polyester organza, because I guess in his opinion, it's better than tulle because it holds the color better. And he also taught himself how to sew via YouTube when he was a teenager. I just thought that was so fascinating. But anyway, the dress that he made for Nishapat was a multicolor strapless gown, and it had yellow, lavender, And then it was like a strapless with a little belt and then a full skirt. Then on top of that, it had a blue and pink detachable, it looked like a detachable long skirt kind of train. And there were so many ruffles. This poor lady, she's a tiny little Asian lady, very cute and real cute figure. But you couldn't see anything. You couldn't see any of her body. These ruffles just covered her all up. They were too bulky. And she's just too petite to wear that much ruffle. Now, if they would have done, like, say, a corseted top or something so you could have seen her bust line and you could have seen her waist and then had a full skirt attached to that and the train and stuff, she would have had a better chance. But because that bodice, the strapless bodice, was also made out of these millions of ruffles, well, she just looked like the Michelin Man. It was just, she looked way bigger than she was, and it was just really too bad. Now, she was wearing Piaget jewelry, and then also I just have to mention, she was the first Thai person, the first person from Thailand ever to be invited to the Met Ball. So I thought that was really cool. And next we have, for honorable mention, Irina, you chose Candice Swanepoel, who was wearing Prabal Garung Atelier. So, Irina?
Yes, darlings. So this was very, very pretty. It was very simple, strapless, glittery column gown, kind of a silvery bluish kind of color. But what I love about it, it had a ruffled baby blue satin train that came off the back of it. So very dramatic. She also had Di Grisogono jewels and Giuseppe Zanotti heels. Oh, they are one of my favorite shoemakers. He makes gorgeous high heels. And then her makeup was so pretty. It was very 20s style, and her hair very close to her head and kind of gelled down with little curls. Very, very pretty and feminine.
Okay, great. And then Penelope, you chose Constance Wu as your honorable mention.
Darlings, I thought Constance Wu, who sometimes is hit or sometimes miss, and a lot of times she just doesn't get it all the way right. But I wanted to mention her here because the gown she had, which was a Marchesa, really looked great on her. It was also a 20s style dress. It was a very sheer sort of dove gray. It had a very deep scooped neckline, the winged sleeves. It was sort of like if you would have updated something that the Downton Abbey ladies would wear. It had these beautiful winged sleeves, shoulder cutouts. It was embroidered with pearls and beads, and they were all in a beautiful shape, kind of a radiating shape, very feminine. And I have to say, this is one of the best looks that I've ever seen Constance Wu in. So kudos for that look. Okay, great. And then Daisy, you chose two looks because you couldn't even, single it down to one. Your first was Lily Reinhardt, who was wearing Ferragamo.
Well, I loved this outfit because it was kind of playful. It was robin's egg blue, and it had these adorable little shorts, and then an off-the-shoulder top, and this is made in the same fabric, so they were matching, and it was kind of looked like not a shantung, but it looked like some kind of a glazed silk, so it had a kind of a sheen to it. It was gorgeous. The fabric was gorgeous. The top was off the shoulder, very flattering, and then it had sort of this layered bell sleeve, so they had maybe 2 or 3 layers. And then what I really loved was at the top in the front came over the short, over the waistband, just slightly down from the waistband. But it had this gorgeous train attached to the top so that the train went all the way down the floor, just like a regular train would. And it was so dramatic. And then on top of that, this had just a gorgeous sort of rococo look. She's blonde, and she had this beautiful Marie Antoinette updo, and it had these beautiful sort of purpley orchids just on one side, and then she also had like a fringe, kind of a fringe hair accessory, and it was just on one side, so it didn't look too weird. It just looked very tasteful, and if Marie Antoinette was alive today, I'm sure she would wear that outfit. It was just really stunning. And then Lily Collins, I just have to mention her. Her hair and makeup were my favorite of the evening. She is so pretty. She's got that dark, dramatic hair and the kind of ivory skin. And her hair was kind of put up in kind of a bouffant hairdo pulled off of her face, and she had this big white headband, and then they had put in these adorable little white flowers in her hair, and she had pretty lavender eyeshadow, huge, big, thick lashes. It looked kind of like Jean Shrimpton or something like that from the 60s, and it really reminded me a lot of Liz Taylor in her heyday, and also other fashion journalists had said it kind of looked like Priscilla Presley on her wedding day, and I don't know if that's exactly what she was going for or not, but then also she had on a Cartier Magnitude high jewelry emerald necklace that was absolutely stunning. I have to say, it came with its own security guard who was a lady, and it had this special magnetic lock, and only the security guard lady could undo it. So that's pretty amazing. Her dress was a Giambattista Valli haute couture, and it was so cute. It had an ivory full skirt that had some kind of netting underneath it. Then, and it was real short above her, a little mini dress skirt, very full. And then this jacket was, so cool. It sort of had a Victorian feel to it. It had ruched Juliet sleeves. And then the dress, or top, whichever it was, had an embellished, really deep V neckline, and they trimmed that with ruffles, and then on her sleeves, she had these beautiful ruffles at the cuffs, in the back of the jacket, because it was kind of fitted to the waist in the front, and then in the back, also, it had a long, really long train, and then the train on the edges of it was trimmed in the ruffles also. But then, when you spread the train out, and if you looked at her from the front, it was lined, and it looked like it was either lined in organza or tulle, and that made the train stand out, so it kept its kind of puffy shape when you spread the train out, and it was kind of bridal, and it was absolutely stunning, so I just had to mention her also. Well, thanks, Daisy. And that about wraps it up as far as this episode of Fashion Review. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Deborah Cristobal, coming to you from sunny Santa Barbara, California. Subscribe now so you don't miss any new episodes. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. You can also follow me on Instagram at Deb Etoile. That's at Deb, D-E-B, Etoile, E-T-O-I-L-E. Thanks so much, and we'll see you the next time. Bye!